As we all know, James Gunn is now the co-CEO of DC Studios alongside Peter Safran, longtime friend of James Gunn, and now they're coming together, united as one force, to bring us the DCU. Of course, rebooting the DCU will slightly, soft rebooting the DCU. We're keeping some actors, getting some new actors. It's still kind of confusing, but of course, at the end of January, like literally the very last day of January, James Gunn did make his major Slate 1, Chapter 1 announcement for the DCU, where we got first reveals of projects like Superman Legacy, Swamp Thing, The Brave and the Bold, Paradise Lost, Booster Gold, among many other projects as well that I'm very excited for. So James Gunn's future DC clearly is very bright. He's got a great creative mind, and I'm really excited to see where this universe ends up going, especially in this first chapter, which we know has been titled Gods and Monsters. Now, since then, obviously, when we got that Slate reveal, it was just partially Chapter 1, which seems kind of crazy. 10 projects is only part of Chapter 1. I think he said that this whole 8 to 10 year plan is going to be made up of 2 chapters. So it's not like it's going to be like an MCU Phase 1 where that is like 4 projects. No, this is going to be way much more than that. We are telling a long-term story with the DCU. So when it comes to these projects that we did get announced, though, a lot of them we just have the titles. We don't know much about them. We don't know what characters are going to be in them. So James Gunn, of course, him being the great guy that he is, has been teasing us on Twitter. We've all been asking him questions, and I really love how engaged he is with the fans on Twitter. It can be both good and bad, like kind of shutting down all the rumors is like good, but then at the same time it shuts down discussion. But also when he teases us with stuff like this, it's just really fun because first of all, I get to make videos about it, and second, it's just fun to have discussions about it and talk about it because, this is what we love to do. So yesterday, he sparked some major news with the DC world after posting this on his Instagram story. So he reposted a post from James Gunn News Instagram account, and it was a ranking of which character should join James Gunn's DCU next. And so it's a screenshot from an article from IGN where apparently they did what characters they think James Gunn is going to be joining James Gunn have join his universe next after the projects we've already seen announced. As you can see the list here of the top 10, we have Dick Grayson Nightwing, Martian Manhunter, Lobo, Brainiac, Deathstroke, Jason Todd, Robin/Red Hood, Zatanna, The Court of Owls, Mr. Freeze, and John Constantine. Now, it's not like James Gunn just reposted this though. The interesting part about this is the top he captioned it with, "Will 5 out of 10 do?" ? So James Gunn right here just gave us one of the biggest teases ever, confirming that 5 out of the 10 characters on this list will be coming to James Gunn's DCU. So of course this gives us the opportunity to talk about it and discuss and try and figure out which of these characters are going to join the DCU. And of course, you can let me know your own predictions in the comments below. I'm going to break down each character on this list and the chances that I think they're making their way to the DC Cinematic Universe. So starting off with, I think the most obvious one has got to be Lobo, because this has been a character we've had so many discussions about since James Gunn took charge of DC Studios. Because one of the first things he did when he took over was, when Twitter was going crazy at first, he created that Mastodon account. And his first post was a picture of Lobo. And combine that with the huge, exciting DC news that Jason Momoa has supposedly been having, we've all been theorizing that Jason Momoa is going to play Lobo in the DCU. And there's been so many confusing, conflicting reports because it's like, okay, so he's staying as Aquaman, but is he also going to be Lobo? And then James Gunn saying that, actors are only going to play one character in the universe. So I really have no idea what the case is going to be here. Whether it is Jason Momoa or not, I do feel like we are going to see Lobo in the DCU because Lobo is just such a popular character with DC fans, a character people are wanting to see in live action for the longest time since his great portrayal on Krypton. And he just fits James Gunn's vibe so much. James Gunn is just a director and just a creative mind that just works so well with the character of Lobo. So I can totally see him fitting into the DCU. Whether it is Jason Momoa or not, maybe that exciting news is not that Jason Momoa himself is playing Lobo, as much as he would love that, but instead just the fact that Lobo is coming to the DCU. That could be what he's excited about. But I could see Lobo fitting in as the villain of this first Superman movie, Superman Legacy. Maybe have an appearance in Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, or get his own project. You never know. But I definitely feel like Lobo is coming to the DCU. Another big one I think is pretty much all but confirmed is Slade Wilson, aka Deathstroke. Whether it is Joe Manganiello back or not, again, it could be, or it could be a recast new actor. I feel like Deathstroke is coming because James Gunn, originally when he was working on the Suicide Squad, Deathstroke was supposed to be the original leader of that team, not Bloodsport. So he's always had a love for this character. He's always had plans for this character. And with huge, heavy rumors that this character will be featured in the Amanda Waller HBO Max series, it just makes complete and total sense. And then you factor in also rumors of Ben Affleck coming in to possibly direct The Brave and the Bold. We could also maybe use Deathstroke in Brave and the Bold as well. I think that would be really great to see. But third and finally of my, okay, these are confirmed characters pretty much, is Dick Grayson, aka Nightwing. Because why would he not be? Why would he not be in the DCU? This is one of the, well, not one of the, this is just the most beloved member of the Bat family, other than, Batman himself, of course. But he is the most popular, most famous Robin. He's the original Robin. And people and fans have been clamoring for years and years to get Nightwing done properly. We've only seen one true previous iteration of Nightwing, and that was done on Titans, and the suit looks great, but really the portrayal of the character is not the best. And to be fair, we really haven't even had a good live-action Dick Grayson ever. I mean, we had the one from Batman and Robin and Batman Forever, but that was not even Robin. So we know we're getting Damian Wayne as the Robin of the DCU in Brave and the Bold. So that makes perfect setup for Dick Grayson to already be Nightwing in the DCU and have him be appearing in this movie. Because James Gunn has confirmed this film will be setting up the Bat family. The Bat family is coming. We will see other members of the Bat family. And not only is Dick Grayson Nightwing one of the most prominent members of the Bat family, but he is the one that has the closest relationship to Damian Wayne in the comics. So it makes perfect, complete, and total sense that Nightwing would be a part of this movie, and hopefully even going forward, maybe even get his own movie or series on HBO Max. Now, speaking of the Bat family, though, another character on this list is Jason Todd, aka Red Hood. This is another one that I feel like is very extremely likely to be introduced as well. Now, I don't think he's actually going to physically appear in The Brave and the Bold, which we know is going to be this first Batman movie of the universe, because, just looking at the timeline, if Damian Wayne is Robin, that means Jason Todd would have already had to have come before. But I feel like it would be weird to just skip over everything and have him already be Red Hood in this universe. So I think what they would do for this movie is maybe have just a little mention that Jason Todd in this universe is dead. Maybe he was Batman's Robin, but he died, but he hasn't come back as Red Hood yet. And then that way we can slip into a perfect sequel to Brave and the Bold, our second Batman movie in this universe, and do Batman Under the Red Hood, one of the most iconic Batman storylines that I feel like James Gunn is probably going to want to do in his universe, because that's one of the strong suits of this version of Batman of the DCU that we can't do with Robert Pattinson's Batman, is this is an older Batman with the Bat family. You can tell stories like this that you can't tell with the 2 years into his career Robert Pattinson Batman. So I think Red Hood is very extremely likely to come to the DCU. Now, speaking of Batman, though, let's continue this track by talking about the Court of Owls. Now, the Court of Owls, I do not believe are coming to James Gunn's DCU, because I feel like they are instead going to be used and prioritized in the Matt Reeves The Batman universe. There were teases of them in the first movie. Obviously, some big fan theories about that. And we don't exactly know where this trilogy is going, but I feel like the Court of Owls have to be involved. They fit in perfectly with this universe, and it's just too good of an opportunity to not do the Court of Owls. Now, when James Gunn says 5 out of 10 of these characters, we don't know necessarily if that means specifically for his DCU, or say that the Court of Owls are being used for Matt Reeves' universe, if they would count as part of that 5 out of 10. I'm going to say no, but then again, we don't know for sure. But speaking of the Batman, we also have Mr. Freeze on this list as well. A great Batman villain that I so want to see done properly, done justice in live action. I feel like that will also be in the Batman. Of course, big rumors, big theories that he will be the main villain of the Batman 2. That still remains to be seen, but I feel like the setup is there and it would just work very extremely well. So I don't think he's going to be in James Gunn's DCU, but I feel like he will be in the Matt Reeves The Batman universe. Now going into the darker supernatural side of things with John Constantine. John Constantine is at an interesting spot right now because originally we were supposed to get an HBO Max series set in the DCEU that was going to be a part of this big setup to that Justice League Dark HBO Max series. That Justice League Dark HBO Max series has now been canceled. With James Gunn taking over and kind of resetting everything, I highly doubt that this Constantine series is still in development. But Constantine is such a big character that I feel like he has to come into the DCU at some point. But then there's the thing that kind of throws a wrench in his plans, because we also have the Keanu Reeves Constantine 2 in development. So that sequel is actually happening now, and it's coming out. It's not going to be part of the DCU. It is likely going to be an Elseworld story, but it's been a big focal point that they don't want to have multiple versions of the same character running around at the same time. With, of course, a few exceptions. We have the DCU Batman, the Reeves-verse Batman, plus we'll have Superman Legacy, plus, whatever is going on with Superman and Lois. So they could do it, but I just feel like it would be less likely, especially with a character like Constantine, where, Batman and Superman, it makes sense. Those are, the two biggest characters that you would have multiple versions of that character. But Constantine is less necessary, so unless they want to do a big Justice League Dark thing, you kind of have to have Constantine for that. But for now, I feel like that's not going to be the case. But with Zatanna, I think that is actually the opposite, because originally, again, this was supposed to be another project that was in development, a Zatanna movie that would have helped set up that Justice League Dark HBO Max series as well. Now, that series was canceled, but there's been no update on this movie. And I feel like, as much as they want to just reset everything, Zatanna is not only a really rich character that is great for storytelling and would be a great addition to this universe, but the fact that you had an Oscar-winning writer, Emerald Fennell, working on the script for that Zatanna movie, I feel like it would be just kind of stupid to kind of throw that away. So whether it is part of the DCU or DCEU or an Elseworlds or whatever, I do feel like Zatanna is coming to the DCU. Obviously we're looking for more female heroines as well, so I think she would be a great addition to this universe, and I think is pretty likely to be coming to James Gunn's universe. Now, Brainiac. No. I'm thinking no on Brainiac, because as much as I love Brainiac and would love to see Brainiac done in live action in a big screen theatrical release Superman movie, I don't think it's going to happen with the Superman Legacy. A lot of people are saying Brainiac would fit perfectly there, but with this being a younger Superman, I just don't think it works for this to be a Superman so early in his career just automatically going up against Brainiac, one of his biggest villains ever, and being able to so easily defeat him. I feel like this Superman movie has to be smaller scale, fight some smaller scale villains like a Parasite, or maybe a Lobo, or Toyman, or Livewire, or something like that. That would be really cool. I think Brainiac would have to be saved for at least a sequel, maybe even the third movie of a trilogy. If we got Man of Steel 2, then that would have been perfect for Brainiac. But that's not happening. We're getting a rebooted Superman. So I feel like Brainiac is not going to be coming anytime soon, as much as I would love to see him. I just feel like it's not time, and they're going to have to wait to build up this version of Superman before we can make our way to Brainiac. Now, finally on this list is Martian Manhunter. Martian Manhunter is another one in an interesting spot, because Martian Manhunter is one of my favorite DC characters. He's always been integral to the Justice League. So I feel that when we do get Justice League in the DCU, which it's inevitable, Martian Manhunter will be a part of that. Now, will he be set up before that? Will he get his own HBO Max series or his own movie? I don't know. I would really like to see that. I did a video before James Gunn's announcement about my predictions of what I wanted James Gunn to do, and a Martian Manhunter HBO Max series was on that list. But I kind of feel like they'll wait until whenever we do get that Justice League movie, and I don't think that will really be anytime too super soon. Now, he could possibly be in Superman Legacy, just like how he was in the Superman Man of Tomorrow storyline. I think that would be interesting to see. But I feel like Martian Manhunter will be a character that they probably wait on, as much as I'd love to see him done correctly in the DCU, especially since we've seen so many versions of him done in live action previously. And I just really don't want to see him sidelined again. So, if I have to wait, I'll wait as long as he's done justice. So these are the 5 that I'm kind of looking at as the most likely to be joining James Gunn's DCU. Dick Grayson Nightwing is, there's no way he's not going to be in the Brave and the Bold. Deathstroke, I think, is coming in Waller, and also possibly Brave and the Bold. Zatanna, I just think, makes perfect sense. Lobo's been teased for the longest time, and Red Hood would also just make perfect sense and fit in so well with the DCU under James Gunn's vision as well. So anyways, guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about my predictions, and what are your predictions of the 5 out of 10 characters on this list that James Gunn is bringing to the DC Cinematic Universe? So anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Please drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and hit the subscribe button so I can keep you up to date on everything goes on in the DC life.